Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Mars, square, inconjunct, or opposition the natal ascendant. Well, anyway, people, the first thing is it stands out to me if you have this transit, well, that situations with others might be a little bit more contentious, more disputatious, and more quarrelsome than usual. It may not be the best time to make that good first impression on somebody because you might be seen as a little bit more acerbic during this time than usual. You might come across as a little bit more abrasive, even if you have, like, say, a charming and diplomatic Libra ascendant. You may not come across quite as much during this transit. So this is the disputes that could take place in the contentious situations, of course, can depend a lot on the house that it is in during the transit. If it's in, say, the fourth house, then it could be with somebody in your family member, a prominent family member, maybe the mother even. This could be, let's say, yeah, somebody at home. If it's in, say, you're getting the opposition from the seventh house, well, this could be with a significant other, or you might simply be making some very angry and acrimonious open adversaries or open enemies due to maybe perhaps an more abrasive nature that you might be projecting. If you're getting, say, a square from the 10th, well, this could be something with perhaps the dominant parent, which is usually the father. It could be some situation that's very contentious with that person, or perhaps even an authority figure. Could even be somebody in the government. If it's from an inconjunct, say, from the sixth house, this could be with somebody perhaps that maybe in a fellow employee or somebody at your workplace. Somebody that you see in your daily routine. So anyway, this is a transit where you might wind up alienating and exasperating others more so than usual. You might get a little bit more riled up over less during this time and less provocation than usual. You might be a little bit more overly aggressive, a little bit more unruly during this transit. There also might be a stronger propensity for accidents during this time. You might not quite have the alertness, and you have to remember you're having this transit involving Mars and the physical body. So a lot of these impetuous or impulsive movements could adversely affect the physical body. Keep in mind too, I mean, Mars is about surgery, so it would be a rather inauspicious time, I think, to have surgery as opposed to, say, the sextile and trine transit from Mars to the ascendant. The thing, too, is you might be inundated and overwhelmed with activity and things you have to take care of during this time. And with so many things you have to take action on, you may wind up becoming overwhelmed and really, I mean, especially, let's say, if this is an inconjunct coming from the sixth house, or even an opposition from the sixth house of health, this could lead to perhaps some overexertion and could be very taxing on the physical health. Now, this is a thing too. I mean, keep in mind that Mars is about sex as well, and you might have a little bit more difficulty than usual, perhaps projecting sexual energy than usual. You might maybe not somewhat in the mood as usual during this time. There might be some frustration going on that way, or some hang up sexually during this time, more so than usual. This could be a time too where you really, I mean, could really come across a little bit more acrimonious than usual. I mean, even let's say if you have a very rather peaceful and tranquil Taurus ascendant, for example, this could be a time where you really you could be angered a little bit more easily than usual. Others, your ascendant, which of course is your outer demeanor and the outer characteristics that you project rather readily, Others may be taken aback by it this time, or for some reason it might be something about your appearance that might be angering others as well. Now, I mean, as far as the transit, the inconjunct, especially, even perhaps in opposition from the sixth house. Now, I mean, let's say that Mars, take an example, let's say that Mars is in Gemini and it's making an inconjunct aspect to your ascendant from the sixth, or perhaps even an I mean, the inconjunct I see a little bit more as health related, but I think opposition from the sixth can as well. So let's say you have either one of those transits happening, and Mars is in Gemini. Well, obviously this could be something at work where you can have an accident that could lead to an injury to the arms, like an arm getting caught in the dough mixer machine, which would be a little bit extreme. I'm using an extreme example, of course, but that could be example, or a box falling on someone's shoulder or hitting someone's arm. And the thing about it, too, this is a time, too, where, I mean, you really need to be more prudent and more careful and assiduous with your movements, with your actions, because I stated you're not going to be as nearly as alert during this time than usual. I mean, if you, let's say you have this transit, and let's say you're having a square from the third house, this could be more propensity for like a car accident, because of course the third house governs short journeys and transportation. So I mean, this is really, I mean, at the same time you can look for contraindicators as well. Let's say that transit Saturn is making a sextile or trine to your natal Mars. Of course, this could give more disciplined energy. So the one good thing about transits is that you can have an adverse transit, but at times you could have others that might alleviate a little bit of the negativity from an adverse transit. If you have some other transits that can be contraindicators, and really, and it could make the negative transit go along a little, at least a little bit better than it would ordinarily. Now, at the same time, if you have, let's say you have one of these aspects and you have transit Mars making a square inconjunct or opposition to your natal ascendant, but you have your natal Mars is being afflicted by a lot of negative aspects, transiting aspects from other planets, then it could really kind of add insult to abject misery, so to speak. And it could really, there could be some very strong issues connected with anger during this time, and more in perhaps even accidents as well from impulsive and impetuous actions. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for transit Mars square inconjunct or opposition the natal ascendant. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about transit Jupiter conjunct the natal ascendant. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.